Today, we're diving deep into a really powerful idea from the mystic Neville Goddard. It's all about those silent, nonstop conversations you have in your head and how they are literally piece by piece creating your reality. More importantly, though, we're going to talk about how you can become the master of them.
I want you to really think about that for a second. That constant chatter in your mind. What if it's not just random noise? What if it's the actual blueprint, the invisible architect for every single thing that shows up in your life? That's the huge idea we're exploring today. So, first up, the hidden architect. We're about to pull back the curtain and see how our inner speech, the stuff we're usually not even aware of, is the true cause of everything in our lives, for better or for worse. Here's the core concept from Neville, and it's a big one. He says the world you see around you, your job, your bank account, your relationships, it's all just your past inner speech that's been, frozen into fact. It's a direct physical reflection of what you've been saying to yourself on the inside. And just so we're all on the same page, when we talk about inner speech, we mean those non-stop mental conversations. You know the ones, the arguments you have with someone while you're driving, the imaginary chats with a friend, the little comments you make to yourself all day long. It's always, always happening. And this is where most of us get it twisted. We spend so much time and energy pointing fingers, right? We blame the economy or our boss or just plain bad luck. But what Neville is saying is we're looking in the wrong direction. The real cause is so often our own unobserved, negative inner chatter just playing out on the big screen of our lives. Okay, so if our inner conversations are the cause, then the solution is actually pretty straightforward, isn't it? We have to change the script. And that brings us right to our next section, where we learn how to consciously and deliberately rewrite that inner dialogue. Now, the sources use this really powerful metaphor for this shift. It's about putting off the old man and putting on the new man. So what does that actually mean for us? It means trading in your old default conversations, the ones that are critical, argumentative, and totally focused on the problem, for brand new conversations that are congratulatory, loving, and, this is key, assume your wish is already a done deal. Let's make this super concrete with a perfect real-world story from the source material. So there was this young woman who was just completely convinced her boss was unfair, always criticizing her. A classic nightmare boss situation, right? But when she actually started paying attention, she realized something shocking. She was having silent, furious arguments with him in her imagination all day long. So what did she do? She consciously, deliberately changed the script. She just stopped the mental fights. Instead, she started to vividly imagine him congratulating her on a job well done. She would hear his words in her mind, and then she would feel the genuine gratitude for his praise. She completely flipped the narrative from conflict to appreciation. And the result? It was absolutely astonishing. Out in the real world, her boss's actual behavior did a complete 180. He started praising her, treating her with respect, perfectly mirroring the new conversation she was having on the inside. It's such a powerful example of this principle. The outer world has to conform to your inner speech. That story is just incredible, right? So it begs the question, how do we actually do this for ourselves? Well, this next section is our how-to guide. It's all about this process of inner reversal. The easiest way to learn this technique is to first see how you're already a master at it. You just might be using it to create things you don't want. How does the bad stuff show up in your life? Come on, you argue in your head. You visualize the absolute worst-case scenario. You tell yourself and others the story of your problems over and over. The fix is beautifully simple. Just do the exact reverse of that. So here it is, the 4-step practice. First, you have to observe. Just stop a few times a day and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Become aware of it. Second, identify. Recognize those negative, unlovely conversations that are probably creating the junk in your life. Third, reverse. This is the active part. You deliberately stop that old conversation and put on a new one that feels like your wish has come true. And fourth, and this one's huge, you persist. You keep repeating that new inner conversation until it feels completely natural, totally real. And look, this is probably the most crucial point of all. Just knowing what to do, it changes absolutely nothing. The real power isn't in understanding this idea intellectually, it's in the doing. It's in the daily, consistent practice of applying it. That's what makes all the difference. All right, let's tie all of this together in our final section, your word, your world. And this contains a truly mind-bending takeaway about the very nature of your thoughts.
I want you to think about your thoughts like this. When you spend something, you give it away and you don't expect anything back. But when you invest something, you fully expect a return. The advice here is to stop spending your precious thoughts on negativity and worry and start investing them in inner conversations that are going to pay you back with a beautiful future. And here it is, that mind-bending idea. We tend to assume our thoughts just fade away. They happened in the past and they're gone. But according to this teaching, that's just not true. Your inner conversations today don't recede. They advance. They are literally marching forward into your future to become the very people and circumstances you're going to meet tomorrow.
What's so amazing about this is that as you start to actually practice it, you'll begin to see the proof in your own life. You'll construct a new inner world, you'll stay faithful to it, and then you'll see it pop up in your outer world. And every single time that happens, it builds your belief, it builds your faith until you have this unshakable conviction that you really are the creative power in your world. So I'll leave you with this. Ask yourself, right now, what is it that you truly, deeply want to experience in your life? And then be really honest with yourself. Does the secret conversation you're having inside your head all day long, does it agree with that desire? Because if it doesn't, you now know exactly what you need to do to change it.